hold on one second. We about to get to the bottom of this, ladies and gentlemen. This don't make no sense whatsoever. Welcome to the Dark Waters channel, where we explore mysteries, figure out the truth, dive into politics, and anything else you want to know about. That's what we doing over here, baby. Let's go. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dark Waters, and I'm back. And guys, let me get this phone out of my pocket. Let me tell you something. The ability of the radical leftists to further isolate and terrorize people cannot be underestimated. You know, we all want to see the downfall of the Democratic Party. We know it's not the party for America. We know it's a wicked party. But I don't think anybody has anticipated what that downfall truly looks like. And now we're starting to get glimpses of what it looks like. And it looks like violence. I mean, there's no way around it. Everywhere you turn, they're stoking the flames of violence. And then you wonder, you say, well, man, you know, it doesn't make sense for these people to get their constituents to become violent. But it's been the pattern. It's been the pattern since we had the pandemic. You know, you got to wear your mask to protect me, and I got to wear my mask to protect you, while they physically assault you, although they're afraid that they're going to get some type of virus or disease. It's been consistently the pattern. And so now leftists, extreme, violent leftists have turned on leftists. And this is what we're seeing with the Tesla debacle. And I don't think the Democratic Party is working with any strategists at all at this point in time. There cannot be, and if they are working with a strategist, it's extremely progressive left strategist, because common sense tells you that all the people who buy Teslas, who have bought Teslas, are progressives. People who believe in climate change and saving the world and doing those things. And so now all of a sudden, you're attacking your own people. You're attacking your own people, and it doesn't make it, I mean, it doesn't benefit this party in any way, shape, or form.
A resident here in Colorado, his name is Mark Blum, he says that he and his wife won't even drive their Tesla at night now because of the recent vandalism and threats. By definition, one of the things that takes something to terrorism is the fact that it changes people's lifestyles. It forces a lifestyle change. And that's what we're starting to see with all these attacks on Tesla owners and the Teslas themselves.
No, that's right, Terrence. And the thing is, Teslas are great cars, right? I'll never forget the first time I rode in one, and my brother floors it, and it felt like I was on a roller coaster. These are fantastic cars. They're a testament to American ingenuity, right? And that is ultimately why they're attacking it. It's because it's an American company led by an American CEO who really does want to save this country. If you look at the cuts that Doge is recommending, there's not a single cut that is not, there's not a single expenditure that's defensible, right? Every cut is 100% justified, and it shouldn't have these expenses never should have happened in the first place. But these Teslas are fantastic cars. I recommend not hiding. We can't bend a knee. I recommend people buy one. You'll find out just how cool they are and why so many people bought them. It's just so ironic, though, that Elon Musk started this as an environmental thing, right? He wanted to get cars up to speed and also, make sure they weren't causing that much more pollution. And now these guys are reacting. Whatever happened to their concerns about climate change? I guess Elon and Doge are a bigger threat to humanity than climate change, according to the left.
I think that's really interesting, because I think you might have those folks who are hiding their Teslas, or they're concerned about taking them out. But I think we may see a whole new group of people buying Teslas to support Elon and support the country.
I can tell you this. I'm not buying a Tesla. I don't want a Tesla. I mean, Elon, great. That's not my type of vehicle. I don't want a Tesla. I don't have an interest in it. I will say this, though, and I will say this emphatically about the leftists who are violent. You see, when they were terrorizing conservatives who had on MAGA hats, it was one thing. Now the left is getting a taste of its own medicine, because now the Tesla is the new MAGA hat. It was so bad that in the hood, if you wore a red hat, people would confront you. It didn't have to have any writing on it. If you wore a red hat, then people said, oh, you a Trump supporter. I had a red hat that matched my outfit. Dude was like, bro, you one of them Trump supporters. I said, damn, how you know, homie? He was like, bro, I can't believe you. I said, what, you gonna beat me up? What, you gonna whoop me? But nah, bro. I said, I mean, if you feel that strongly about it, let's just fight and get it over with. And of course, my people with me like said, bro, what's wrong with you? But at the end of the day, that's just how I feel about it. Like, you ain't gonna run up on me and intimidate me into feeling a certain way because of your damn emotions. I am not the hostage of your emotions. And so, frankly, what we have going on right now is the left is being terrorized by the left the same way that we were being terrorized by the left. The radical leftist activists are now activated against the left. And it should happen. I'm sorry, it should happen that way and should be that way. This is video footage from Mardi Gras with people throwing things at the Tesla vehicle. And I want you to notice these are all white women throwing stuff at this Tesla. And I'm going to say something. And you may not like it. But I remember being like when I was 19 years old. My mama sat me down. She said, son, let me tell you something. You getting ready to go off on this internship. I had to be 20. You get ready to go off on this internship, son. Let me tell you something. You're going to meet all kind of women. She said, but I want you, there's one type of woman I want you to look out for. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, it's a white woman that's a Democratic white woman. I said, what you mean? She said, it was the same white female Democrats that would have sex with a black man and then turn around and claim that he raped her. She said, son, if she white and she a Democrat, stay away from that woman. And I was like, damn, okay. And I didn't understand what my mama meant. She didn't say all white women. She said white female Democrat. Stay away from them. And I understand. As an adult, a full grown man, now I understand. I want you to see it for yourself. These are them. Now, part of this could be if he has the sunroof open to the Tesla, because it is Mardi Gras. If the sunroof is open, people tend to try and shoot the stuff in the sunroof. But I want to show you something. This woman right here, this one right here, this one right here, that walk up on his car and slam the stuff on it like she crazy. No, that's a leftist. That's a deranged leftist. That right there. If she had a hammer, she would have did it with a hammer. And the thing that bothers me about this particular type of woman, and I've seen this hundreds of times, where that's the same woman that'll assault a person, spit on them, push them, punch them, and then when the police come, oh, he hit me. And then be smiling while you go into prison. I've seen ample videos of this. The guy gets arrested, his whole life is destroyed, and she just smiling. Yeah, I got him. I got him arrested. And so I need you to understand. Now the unhinged leftists have turned upon each other. And this is one of those things where you stay out of the fight. The only reason why I believe that people are even invested in this fight any way, shape, or form is because we're dealing with Elon Musk. But the important thing you have to understand is with these kind of malignant, narcissistic, insane personalities, the only thing you can do is turn their attention to somebody else. And so this group of people's attention is being turned. They're like a flashlight, right? And the people who are manipulating them understand that they're like a flashlight. So they're turning their attention to who they think they can do the most damage with. I say we should turn the attention of these people onto Gavin Newsom and off of Elon Musk. Because you're not going to arrest all of them and you're not going to stop their actions. These are American-born terrorists, but they're women at the same time. The optics of, for example, technically that woman should be arrested for what she just did to that Tesla. But the optics of arresting a middle-aged old white woman because she's crazy is terrible for politics. So you're not going to arrest them. Now you could, it was a male, yeah, you could arrest him, be done with. But when it comes to the female constituents, which are the ones that are actually the Jezebels, encouraging the Ahabs, the Jezebels, you're not going to arrest them. And so they're going to always be there. So the best thing you do with those Jezebels is you can point them at someone else. And what does that mean, in my opinion, what does that mean with Elon Musk? How should it be handled? Elon has to rapidly do what he's doing. Like, Elon has to achieve his goal and be done with his goal. And then the narrative can change. So he has to have a start date and a finish date. So Trump has been in office maybe, let's say 100 days. By 300 days, Elon needs to be done. Okay, I've done the job is over, I'm moving on to my next thing. Boom. And then he has to separate in order to get them to pay attention to someone else. And if I was Elon Musk and they assaulted me in my business like this, personally, I would dump millions of dollars into marketing and advertising to turn this actual group of terrorists against the Democratic Party further. Like, I would spend millions of dollars. I would be pissed at the simple fact that the news media could do this. And understand, it is the dinosaur news media that's provoking this reaction. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Watch this. And this is the mindset. I'm having dinner with my MAGA grandparents or my MAGA parents and called the staff to give them a heads up. So this person doesn't want to spend time with their parents. Watch this. I'm having my biannual dinner with my nutbag parents this week. Biannual. 2 times a year you sit down and have dinner with your parents. If there was one thing that stands out the most about being a leftist, it's dishonoring their parents. It's dishonoring their mother and their father. I mean, they are the scumbags for doing it. I mean, you truly are scumbags for dishonoring your parents. It shouldn't matter who your parents voted for. They're your parents. It shouldn't matter who your mom voted for. You came from between her legs, man. And if you can't honor your parents, if you can't honor your mother and father, because you don't agree on politics, then nobody should be in a relationship with you. Like, if I'm a single dude and I meet a chick and she's like, yeah, my mom and my dad, we got to go to dinner with them. I only have dinner with them. Honey, we only have dinner with them 2 times a year. And my parents are MAGA nutbags, and I'm gonna try and make this dinner go fast. I'm gonna sit and look. Say, hold on, let me get this together. So you only see your parents, have dinner with your parents twice a year, and you don't like your parents' politics. And so one of the 2 times out of the year, you're gonna sit down and have dinner with your parents. You want to rush to dinner? Nah, you go to that by yourself. Watch this. I'm having my biannual dinner with my nutbag parents this week. I don't want to end up having an extended dinner due to the slow service and any extra wait, meals that take a little extra time to cook, etc. I called the restaurant and explained my problem to the manager working. The manager was pretty cool about it and gets it. I just had to tell the hostess my name and reservation time, and they have a special note written. The manager said that he was working that day and will let the staff know. He agreed to prioritize speed over quality and service. If all goes well, I plan to go back and give an additional tip to the manager and server. Wish me luck. Maybe dinner from sit down to paying the check will be under 20 minutes. What the hell is wrong with you? What in Sam hell is wrong with you? I'll give you my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, about liberalism. Being a person who was born and raised in New Orleans, in an extremely liberal city. The fruits of liberalism are theft, dishonor, corruption, death, murder, slander. Those are the fruits of it. I mean, you can see the fruits manifested in the cities that you grow up in. And there's different levels of fruit. But when it comes to the family, it's dishonor. And it doesn't have to be over politics. Let's just keep it real. This is just so happened to be the thing that they're dishonoring their parents over. When you read this, you see my biannual dinner with my nutbag parents. I mean, bro, this ain't just politics that's the dividing line of this. Now, the reality of it is, it's the parents' fault that the child is this way. You probably sent the kid off to college, and then college got brainwashed in college. Kid probably came up with had a great life. They probably took care of every bill, every need. They coddled that kid. I guarantee you they coddled that kid. Because what happens with a coddled child is, at some point in time when they meet the real world, their parents become the enemy. It's kind of like with a son. I don't know how many of you guys have sons, and sons get a certain age where they want to cut their teeth in contention, and they think they're going to cut their teeth on you. So there comes a moment where every son needs to cut his teeth, and he turns to snip at you. It always happens. I have two sons. It's happened with both of them. And when they turn their teeth to snip at me, I knock their teeth out their mouth. And show them. No. Use a young lion. You understand? Use a young lion. No, you ain't ran with the pride. You understand? And then he'd be like, nah, Pops, I'm sorry. Okay. Use a young lion. You know, I ain't that old of a lion. So it's one of those things to where you have to be mindful of it. And I would say this. We're going to have to get to the point where we have to adopt the lefty. I know nobody wants to be bothered with lefties, but it's going to have to be the adopt the lefty movement in order to break these people out of it, or they're just going to kill themselves and go extinct. I guarantee you, when we looked at the crime statistics, you'll see a spike in crime in young leftists where they're getting arrested more. You'll see spike in drug usage. You'll see spike in early death. Well, we know why we're seeing a spike in that. But you're going to see all these negative spikes in the leftist community of America. And unfortunately, part of me wants to say, man, look, I'm going to let you do what you do because, I mean, you were talking crazy about me. But I don't want to see that happen, Tom. We're going to have to start adopting liberals. How many of you guys want to adopt a liberal family? And what does it look like to adopt a liberal family? What does it mean? Does it mean you knock on their door and give them some pie? Do you like pie? Maybe on Pie Day, everybody give them pie. I don't know. But something's going to have to change. Because we can't have future generations of this craziness in America. It's got to be bred out or something. Maybe everybody got to get a liberal woman and have babies. I don't know. No, that's not a good idea either. I don't know. This is something really important that's hitting the news. Texas moving forward banning Sharia law. Now, just so you'll know, there is a city that they're trying to build in Texas, north of Dallas or Houston. I believe it's north of Dallas. This is saying Houston, where it's an all Muslim city. I don't have a problem with you Muslims having your own city. No, you can have your own city. If you have the ability to come here and get your own city, then get your own city. But what we ain't about to have is no damn Sharia law. No. The Constitution is the laws of the land of the United States of America, and we ain't playing none of that. So you're not having no Sharia law in the United States of America. Now be aware, ladies and gentlemen, that there's no race of people that's going to come here and sit up and buy land on their own, build buildings on their own, build infrastructure on their own, and have their own city. Not possible. There's no place. There's no nation. So you know that this is funded by a government. And they want to make this one in Houston, they want to make it the new Mecca inside of America. I don't think so.
Excited?
Although this is a simulation only, take it seriously and think about it. Think about the event. Think about all the millions of Muslims who gathered in Mecca to perform Hajj. Remember that this is something that we are commemorating, we are remembering, we are following in the footsteps of what Prophet Abraham did.
MashaAllah. Looks like a real Hajj, doesn't it? MashaAllah. I'm sure the angels are also walking with you. MashaAllah.
Now here's the crazy thing. I ain't got no problem with them doing that. I really don't. Now, if Christians were to set up outside of school and have the crucifixion of Jesus Christ and then reenact the crucifixion of Christ, the whole damn city would lose their mind. Because the whole world is drenched in darkness. But I have no problem with them doing none of this. But what I do have a problem with is you saying that you about to have Sharia law in the land of America. If this is what you want to do, bruh, have your fun. But we ain't having none of this Sharia law. We're not doing that. That ain't popping off like that. But go on, do what you got to do with your black rock that fell from the sky. Even though, you know, they say Satan fell from the sky and landed in the same place and it was a black rock. Do whatever you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Do however you're going to do it. But the point I'm making is outside of that, I ain't got nothing to do with it. Watch this. Watch Shorty explain it to you.
There is a development that very well may happen that I think everybody in America needs to watch. So there's a group of Muslims, Islam.
No, sister, let me tell you something. Y'all so busy running around talking about Trump racist. Trump the devil, Trump racist. Yeah, this is going on up under your nose.
Islamic people who are looking to build a place called Epic City here north of Dallas. It sounds like a water park, but it is indeed not that. What they're trying to do is take 402 acres and they plan to build an entire city of Muslims, but not to be governed by the United States and our laws, but to be governed by Sharia law. Now, in this city, in this proposed city, there will be over 1,000 homes, of course, a temple for them to worship, shopping, you know, the same thing as any city. But we won't be allowed to, our laws won't apply to them. That's what they want. If any of you know anything about Sharia law, we should all be very, very outraged. And
oh, you women should be very, very outraged. But no, us conservatives, we the devil. Yeah, you know, the black conservative, the white conservative, the Asian conservative. Recently met an Asian dude who's a conservative. He's been attacked. You know what I'm saying? We all the devil. We the bad guy. Y'all ain't seen the bad guys yet. You ain't seen the bad guys. But thanks to Joe Biden, you got a lot of bad guys here right now.
And very scared of what their plan is to do here in America. If y'all don't remember in the Middle East when the little girls with all the women were taking their, what are they called? Whatever. Their scarves off their hair and their face, and then they started their heads off, little girls included. Yeah, that was Sharia law, by the way. You look over there now and women can't even be outside. They can't work. They can't shop alone. They don't have money. Complete.
American women, some of y'all American women need a little Sharia law to understand what you got. You need a little bit of that Sharia in your life. Because you take advantage and take for granted the freedoms. Not all of y'all, but some of y'all take advantage and take for granted the freedoms that have been given unto you in the United States of America. Yeah. Some of y'all might need a little bit of Sharia. I might be wrong on this. Some of these liberal women might need a little bit of that Sharia. Go into the Sharia city with the purple hair and see what happened to you. Go into the Sharia city with 18,000 earrings in your face and in your nose and see what happened to you. Yeah, let's see how that worked out for you.
Complete and total oppression and depression right now under what? Sharia law. And if you think for 1 second they're not going to try and impose those laws on Americans that live in that area or surround that area, you must be crazy. You must be crazy. They absolutely are. And the craziest part to me is that there are some local political figures who are supporting it.
What?
And I want to see what their bank account look like.
No. Give me the names, girl. Give me
That's
the names.
what I want to see. I want to see who paid you.
Who the names?
To sell your own, to sell Texas out. Now, the history of this is it was already brought up and they wanted to get it approved, but it was shot down. And Greg Abbott said there will not be any such thing, any Muslim towns established in Texas. That's not happening. But they're bringing it back up again, and there's a few mayors that are supporting it.
Who?
I also want
Name
to
'em,
point
girl.
out, if you're a believer
Name them, girl.
in God and Jesus Christ, the rumor is
I'm all ears.
the Antichrist will come up out of the Muslim faith. He will.
All right. You right about that, but I don't need none of that. I need the facts.
Oppressive spirit is Islam. And
You right about that too. That's the end time army. Go ahead, girl. You know what you're talking about.
whew,
It's very rare to find a black woman that understands things on this level. Yeah. I would procreate with you and make babies with you. You want to make a baby? Because you understand what you're talking about. You should make babies with me. That's it. I don't want to be married to you, but I'll make a baby with you. All right. On to the next thing. I've been intentionally avoiding the hardcore Democratic politics because, quite frankly, where we are now is we're in a situation where everybody's commenting on them, but they're making all the mistakes you want them to make. And I don't even like commenting on it because I feel like you may be giving these clowns some advice. So we got Chuck Schumer, who's being outed but doesn't want to go. We got Nancy Pelosi, who got broken hips and bones in her legs. We got AOC and Bernie Sanders coming back trying to take control of the Democratic Party. And so we have an extreme radical leftist portion of the Democratic Party. And then we have a leftist portion of the Democratic Party. There is no moderate portion of the Democratic Party whatsoever. That doesn't exist. So we have two choices. Either the Democratic Party is going to be terroristic, radical leftists moving forward, which is failure. Or they're going to be a version of what we saw with Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, which was failure. There is no way that they don't fail, is the point that I'm making to you. And so it's kind of like everybody wants to talk about it. And I understand, but there's nothing to talk about because they losing. I mean, we could talk about how they're losing. And that's why I have,
Do you agree, is the United States in a constitutional crisis?
No.
Yes, I do, Kristen, and democracy is at risk. Look, Donald Trump is a lawless, angry man. He thinks he should be king, He thinks he should do whatever he wants, regardless of the law. And
you lucky he ain't king, because if he was king, he'd behead your behind. In this case, I wish he could be king for a day. I wish he could be king for one day. Because in one day, he could plan, okay, on April the 3rd, I shall be king from 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day from 12 a.m. all the way around to 12 a.m. I shall be king that day. If I was king for that one day, every last one of y'all would be beheaded. Every last immigrant would be grabbed, rounded up, and detained and thrown out. All 32 million of you, by the way. Drug out into the streets. But man, these people are just crazy.
he thinks judges should just listen to him. Now, we have to fight that
And the judges.
back in
Oh my Lord, the judges.
every single way.
The judges. Let me find this stuff on these damn judges. What is stuff on the judges? Or Pam Bondi. Here she go. Pam Bondi. The judges. Thank you. Right. Let's watch this, and I'll give my comments on it.
We are fighting back every step of the way. We are in court every day fighting against these activist judges. We're not going to stop. Many of them should be recused from these cases. They will be recused from these cases. We're appealing them. Look at Chuckin. Look at Judge Chuckin with the EPA trying to control our money. Judge Chang trying to control the money of the U.S. aid. Judge Reyes, look what she did to Pete Hegseth. She made personal attacks in court about Pete Hegseth, and she's trying to control military readiness. You can't do this. And then, of course, Boasberg trying to control our foreign policy. These judges are out of control. We are going to fight back, and we are going to win. And the Supreme Court will be ready to hear these cases. Again, these are federal district judges who are trying to control our nation's agenda. And yes, President Trump won the popular vote by an overwhelming majority. Yep. He won the Electoral College, and the people of America want change. And these judges they are losing, and they realize that, and we are going to win.
I want to say this, and I think it's important that we come to the conclusion. In the past 5 days, we had a lot of revelations about the judicial system in the United States of America. One of the most amazing revelations was that many of our Supreme Court justices are in secret societies that are funded by George Soros. If you think for a moment that this is going to be resolved without some force, I'm sorry to tell you, I don't see this being resolved without some form of force. If I'm the president, which I know he won't do this, he baited them into these legal arguments with the understanding and the belief that the Supreme Court would do what it's supposed to do. And then we have Justice Roberts from the Supreme Court come out when Donald starts to talk about impeaching the judges. He comes out and makes a statement saying that's not how it's handled. My fear, my concern, and I won't really say fear because I know the Lord is in control. And I know there's a mechanism that he has for dealing with these things. My concern is the very first case that the Supreme Court could have deaded all of this foolishness, this federal court judge versus the executive branch. The very first case, they could have deaded it right then and there, and they didn't. They had this little whack vote where it was like 4-3 or whatever. They could have dealt with this right then and there in that moment and made sure that this was not a problem moving forward, because there was a case that went before the Supreme Court and they didn't deal with it. They voted to have a continuation of whatever the hell it was. And so I have no confidence in the Supreme Court at this point in time, other than Clarence Thomas. I really don't have any confidence in him. And I think a lot of Americans don't have any confidence in him. And so it begs the question, what do you do when your federal judges are compromised, and you know they're compromised by an outside source, and then if your Supreme Court justices are compromised by that same source, that information came out last week. This week, I believe one of the things we should be looking for is to see what else comes out about the Supreme Court and how it plays out with the Supreme Court. I know Donald Trump made a post where he said, hey, how come we always got to wonder how the Supreme Court judges are going to vote when it comes to certain issues? He didn't make that statement for no reason. He made that statement because he's like, let me take a jab at you, bing. Then the very next day, it comes out all the information about Justice Roberts being, basically blackmailed because he has 2 adopted kids and being from, I want to say Australia or something like that, and being on Soros' payroll. And then when you think about it, what does it mean he has 2 adopted kids? What do you mean? What do 2 adopted kids mean? What does that mean? How you blackmailed because you adopted 2 kids? What does that mean? How many other Supreme Court justices have adopted kids? What does the term adopted kid mean? You get what I'm saying? Because if it means that I adopted a kid illegally and the kid came from across seas and I didn't get a kid from the American judicial system, okay, well, what you gonna do? You gonna take the kid back? But if I'm not mistaken, it was he adopted kids illegally. And I'm not sure what that means. Do you understand what it means to adopt a kid illegally? I mean, does it mean that he's going to lose his seat on the Supreme Court bench because he got a kid that he adopted from Russia, China, or something like that? Or does it mean more than what we think it means? And that's what I lean to. I lean to it meaning more than what we think it means in the context of the elite power structure. And if that's the case, and then you're going to stand with Soros, then that information needs to come out. And you just need to be dealt with. We need to appoint somebody else. But what bothers me is the slow roll at which, in the slow pace at which these things are happening. I mean, it really bothers me. I mean, it's like everything is slow rolled when it shouldn't be slow rolled. Just get it out there and get it done. Just get out there and get it done with. This is Elon Musk talking about the cuts.
I'm very much in favor of legal immigration. I think that generally, I think one should welcome to a country anyone who is willing to work hard and is honest, has high integrity, and will add to, any given country. If somebody is an asset to the country, why not have them join? That's obviously a great thing to do. But if it's illegal immigration and there's no filter, well, how do you know who's coming in? You don't know. So you have to have some basis for saying somebody should come in or not come in. And my argument is it should be a very simple basis. Will they add to the country? Will they be a productive part of the economy? Do they admire the culture? Do they want to join because of the culture? Then that's great. But if there's no process for that, then you don't know. And I want to be careful because my words will be misconstrued. Yeah. I'm not saying all illegal immigrants are bad. I think perhaps most of them are good. But if there's no process for reviewing, not at all, then how can you say that everyone who is an illegal immigrant is going to be honest and hardworking? You can't say that because you simply don't know.
This is the exposure that Elon is taking, and it's the risk that he's taking as an entrepreneur to stand in the gap for millions of people around the world, not frankly just in America, around the world. By him going to Italy and having conversations, he's going to shape narratives, being one of the most influential, wealthy people in the world. Elon is going to go down in history as probably one of the titans of the world. Yeah, It's going to go down in history as one of the titans of world business and politics, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on the screen below me, we picked up our sponsor, Genesis Gold Group. Now, if you haven't realized, well, put it like this: if you've been around for a while, I mean, you've been with me for a long time, you know that I talked about buying silver and gold maybe 9 years ago. And had you started buying silver and gold 9 years ago, you would definitely be in a great situation. But as we deal with these globalist, scheming, conniving, manipulative, lizard people, because they have to be, something has to be wrong with these people. Whether it be they got an interdimensional lizard in their body, whether they're an actual lizard person, whether they're taking injections and they got lizard blood, something is wrong with these people. If you are not prepared for the worst case scenario, which will be an economic collapse, or them turning off the power, which, I mean, they're beaten to the corner right now where I don't see the economic collapse coming their way because there's been too much done to stop the economic collapse. I'm telling you. But I can see them still trying to shut off some power. And we're getting signs of them doing some dry ones from shutting off power. As you saw where the Heathrow Airport power went out. And there have been some blackouts in South America, like some test runs for what would happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, if you haven't got you some gold and silver, then you need to make sure that you have yourself some gold and silver. But beyond disaster scenarios, I need you to understand something. We're moving into a time period of AI, artificial intelligence, where resources of the planet are going to be consumed to create these artificial intelligent computers, super quantum computers, and these beings that will be inhabited by spirits. I know that. I know I'm going too far, but it's the honest to God truth. And guess what all of them gonna need? Silver, gold, copper. Head on over to darkwatersgold.com, darkwatersgold.com, ladies and gentlemen, and sign up. Sign up, you're gonna get a free perspective that's talking to you about gold. And if you have an IRA, you can transfer your IRA into gold. But if you don't have an IRA, I want to encourage you to just go and buy you some gold and some silver. I'm telling you, go out and buy something that's good for you and your family. So good, in fact, that you'll find yourself in environments where gold is at the all-time highs. And it's at its all-time highs now. Had you started listening to me when I told you about it, silver is bumping against its all-time highs. If you've been buying when I was telling you about it, you can get out of silver right now and be pretty well off. When I see Jasmine Crockett, and I'm going to be honest with you, when I see Jasmine Crockett, I want to be careful with my words. But when I see Jasmine Crockett, I see the destruction of black families everywhere. Because if you notice, all the idols have been thrown down. That was one of the things that happened during the election with Kamala, was that all the idols were cast down. So you had idols like Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, this person, that person. All these different individuals, right? And all their power, they were dethroned, is what I would say. And since they're no longer effective, since they're no longer of any relevance, now what we're looking at is these new role models that are rising up for people. And this woman here is a terrible role model.
To them, the trans kids that want to play the sports, Lord have mercy, that is the biggest issue that we had. Since when? Since when? Find the little trans child that is ruining your life. Like, I mean, I'm just like, what?
I wish we could get the whole talking points, but the point I'm making about Jasmine Crockett is this. If we're going to present a black female, but it's even better. Watch this. Let's look at Condoleezza Rice, right? Condoleezza Rice. I know I spelled the name wrong, but I just want you to see. All right. I never really liked Condoleezza Rice. I didn't. I'm going to keep it real with you. Didn't. Never liked her whatsoever. I always thought that Condoleezza Rice was a war hawk. I felt like Condoleezza was pretty much a murderer. But what I will say is this. Condoleezza Rice wasn't a damn ghetto.
Let me be very clear. I grew up in segregated Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't go to a movie theater or to a restaurant with my parents. I went to segregated schools till we moved to Denver. My parents never thought I was going to grow up in a world without
Sunny Holston actually looks pretty before she got Trump derangement syndrome.
prejudice, but they also told me that's somebody else's problem, not yours. You're going to overcome it, and you are going to be anything you want to be. And that's the message that I think we ought to be sending to kids. One of the worries that I have about the way that we're talking about race is that it either seems so big that somehow white people now have to feel guilty for everything that happened in the past. I don't think that's very productive.
Nope.
Or black people have to feel disempowered by race. I would like black kids to be completely empowered, to know that they are beautiful in their blackness, but in order to do that, I don't have to make white kids feel bad for being white.
Nope.
So somehow this is the conversation that has gone in the wrong direction.
That last part, you don't have to what?
Yeah, you know, there's a little bit of it in order for black kids who, quite frankly, for a long time, the way they were portrayed, the way.
But I mean, we don't want to get into the critical race theory thing. But the point is, look at Condoleezza and then look at Jasmine. That's the point I'm making. Now, we know Condoleezza wasn't right. We know that Condoleezza was a damn snake. We know that. But look at the damn difference. So how we go from presenting that to the world to represent a black woman, strong, articulate, confident. I mean, even the way, I mean, man, maybe Condoleezza's not really Condoleezza the more I look at this. Hold on.
Their history was portrayed. It was second-class citizenship.
No, yeah, Condoleezza ain't got no. Yeah, that's Condoleezza. The point I'm making is, look how confident Condoleezza is. Look at her, strong, confident, very articulate. But Condoleezza was a Republican black woman, nonetheless. But the point I'm making is we go from that in politics to Jasmine Crockett. How we get to that? And see, this is why I be taking my breaks from doing this stuff. Jasmine Crockett. Damn Jasmine. Damn Jasmine.